Shocking information about the number of losses of Russian soldiers in Ukraine is revealed. Based on open sources, the BBC Russian service has identified the names of 16,071 Russian soldiers who died in the war against Ukraine. This is data without losses of the occupiers of the so-called Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republic terrorist organizations. Throughout 2022, Russian sources typically reported about 250 to 300 deaths each week, doubling in January and continuing to grow again in February. The media emphasize that we are talking only about the data that they managed to find and verify from open sources. That is, the real number of losses is much higher. In addition, Russia's total irretrievable losses, wounded, killed, or missing people, may amount to at least 144,500 people. It is already known from open sources about the deaths of 1,366 mobilized Russians. 40% of them died in the period from January the 1st. Over the past 5 months, almost half of all the dead Russians were volunteers, conscripts, and prisoners. It was established that since the beginning of the invasion, Russia has lost at least 1,795 officers. Most of these losses are made up of junior officers. The officer corps of the Special Forces and airborne detachments suffered particularly serious losses. The final figure of losses of the Russian side increases significantly if you include those who fought against Ukraine as part of the People's Militia of Donetsk and Luhansk in the list, based on open sources. We can talk about the deaths of at least 5,400 soldiers from the DPR and more than 1,700 soldiers from the LPR. These numbers are clearly lower than the real number of losses of the People's Militia. In social media, journalists found more than 4,700 messages and posts of people who are looking for their male relatives who found themselves in the ranks of the People's Militia and have not been in touch for a long time. It is noted that the American Center for Strategic and International Studies gives a similar assessment. In the first year of the invasion, pro-Russian forces lost from 200,000 to 250,000 people wounded, killed, and missing. The General Staff of Ukraine estimates Moscow's losses at more than 150,000 people killed. The Russian Defense Ministry last reported losses on the 21st of September, reporting the death of 5,937 people.